Hey everyone, this is Michael for Spirit Comics. Welcome to another review. This one is of Hulk number 3, which came out in, February of 2017. I know this is green because we're talking about She-Hulk here, and I wish they had not, renamed her just Hulk. I think that's demeaning. I wish they could have done something more with his background than just being, this shade of green and reaching up to grab the K. But anyway, let's move into the story here. Now, this is Deconstructed Part 3. Jennifer Walters is still dealing with her PTSD after, waking up from her coma because she was in a class with Thanos. She got beat up really bad. And she's going back to being a lawyer. She's trying to serve Maze Bruin, her client, keeping her from getting evicted by Mr. Tick, who was really, actually he was killed in the previous issue. And this is where it happened, on the scene where these two detectives are. And I really wish the dialogue between these two detectives could have been better, because this one, the bald one, keeps asking this one all the questions like the yuppie knows everything, and all he can basically say is, yup, 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 yup. I mean, that's his answer to everything. Yup. I wish the dialogue was better than that. And so they talk. They're talking, and they're looking over the crime scene. They see that the cell phone is left there by Mr. Tick, and this lady is being interviewed, and the newscaster says, "Mind sharing your thoughts for the local news?" And she says, "You scum! You just make it worse, giving them airtime." Because this is she says, she's like, after he says, "A horrific scene in Hill's kitchen this morning." And so then we move over to the law offices of Rue, Barber, Zucker, and Scott, where Jennifer Walters works. So she's looking into the case of Maze Bruin, and she's listening to the newscast. And she's trying to get in contact with Miss Bruin, because she's been leaving her messages and she's not returning her phone calls. And she says, "How well do I think Maze is going to handle the cops knocking on her door?" Because she told her in the message that they would probably come. And Jen thinks, not exactly peaceful wanderers. And of course, Jen knows that she too has trouble with being peaceful, because she's always dealing with anxiety ever since she got out of her coma. And then her assistant, Bradley, comes in saying there's a package here for her. And so we look at it, and this package is from the annoying stalker that has been trying to get an interview with Jennifer Walters, in the previous issue. Sent this stalker who says she has all the sociology majors and blah blah blah. And Bradley says, "Book club?" Jen says, "Stalker." And he says, "You want me to grab you a new laptop?" She says, "That would be great. You can send my 230 in Thank you, Bradley. And her 230 is really, you know, well, this law firm specializes in weirdo cases. The dude's just sitting there, and I don't know what type of creature he is. He says, I mean, a hairnut? That's harassment, right? Look at me. And she tries to keep a straight face, saying, you have any of this in writing in an email? And so, it's just funny that some of these clients she has. And then she gets a call from Patsy, aka Hellcat. And she says, hey, Patsy. She says, are you lawyering hardcore? Trying to, keep her spirits up because she just got out of a coma. She says, I'm fighting the good fight on all levels. Miss me? She says, of course. Good. So, she gets into the elevator to leave, and she's thinking of how she used to be. The sensational She-Hulk when she was green. And she's thinking about, about that era of her life. And then she finally gets off the elevator, and then she hears from Hellcat. So you want to hear all the gossip or what? And Jen's like, you know what? I have to go, but thanks for calling. It's sort of a letdown. And then you see those 2 feet right there? That's Hellcat. Thanks for calling. And there she is. I don't know much about Hellcat, but I think she's kind of good looking. And she says, well, I was going to take you out for lunch, but then you gave me thanks for calling, so... And Jen's like, hey, I'm sorry, it's just been a long day. And it's like 3 p.m., Hellcat says. And he says, what's going on? You're my best friend, and you're giving me the brush off? And she is because, sometimes, even though your friends are well-meaning, sometimes you just don't want to talk. And Hellcat says, this is not really how I imagined our first conversation after you got out of your coma. And so they're talking about the coma, and Hellcat reminds her that they did actually have a conversation while she was in the coma, and there was stuff that they were going to do after she got out. But this dialogue, while it's kind of cool, and it shows the relationship between Hellcat and Jennifer Walters, it's also kind of slow. And just for your information, there is no real action in this issue, and She-Hulk does not make an appearance. So Jennifer Walters is later at home, and she's looking over the case of Maze Bruin, the Inhuman. And she finds out that she was a yoga instructor before she got turned into what she is now. And then back over at Maze Bruin's apartment, those same 2 weirdo detectives arrive, asking her questions, and they're telling each other how freaky the place seems to be. I mean, I don't know what's with this here. This last panel, it's just black. I don't know. I have no idea why. That seems like a waste of a panel. And then they leave, and the place does look really run down. Jennifer Walters continues looking into her case, and she was a really nice looking girl, this Maze Bruin. But then she got beat up and left for dead, and it was by her partner that she was working with. And here we see Maze Bruin in her apartment saying, "You promised you would protect me, you promised." And she's thinking of Jennifer Walters, but Jennifer never said that she would make that promise. She said that she would do her best, and Maze took that to be a promise. And then they're looking, and then this is Jennifer looking at an old newspaper about, I think, the guy who was arrested for getting Maze Bruin all beat up. And these two, literally after exiting Maze Bruin's apartment, ask, where do you want to go eat? And the uppy one says, burgers. And the art in this one, it's not bad, but it could have been better. And here's where some cool scenes start. These two cops, they're in danger. Maze Bruin looks out the window, and she does something, because those two cops, they're gone, they're dead. Dead as a doornail. And now Jennifer is in her own apartment trying to see if she can get everything situated with this Maze Bruin case, because she realizes that Maze Bruin is likely going to get dragged back into the world. And so that is it for this issue. It wasn't the best, but it wasn't horrible either. So if you would like, I would recommend this comic, because this entire series is only 11 issues long. So in order to follow what that happens in the series, I would suggest getting it, because each issue builds on the other. Well, that's it for this one. It wasn't a stellar issue, and heck, my review could have been better. I'm sorry about that. But if you enjoyed this review, please do subscribe to Spirit Comics. Also, smash the bell like She-Hulk. Like and share the review with others so they can know about it and enjoy it as well. And if you have a specific comic that you want me to review, maybe I purchased it on New Comic Book Day, leave me a message here on YouTube, because I do check my messages each day. Till next time, true readers.